Hey guys, better late than never. How you doing? Got a little technical issue, but you know, we prevailed, thank God. God is what really helped me as always. So I hope everyone out there is having a great week. Why, you guys, let me see who's out there. I'll give a quick roll call. Thank you so much for hanging out. So we have Jesus all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, just outside. Good to see you, Jesus. Mr. Steve Lang, all the way from the UK. So great to see you. And Mr. Steve Leahy, all the way from Ohio. Great to see you, sir. And we have Mr. Mike DeLoach from the Atlanta area as well. Let's see who else we have. We're fortunate to have here. We have Mr. John Payne, Total Pain, from upstate New York. And then we have, let me see if I missed anybody. Raul, how you doing, fellow Jersey guy? Good to see you. And let's see who else. That's it. So what a great group we're ready to start the day. What I'm going to do is fix the color just a tad, right? Let's go ahead and do that. And let's see. So glad to have you here, sir. So right now, I am going to go ahead and just adjust the color just a wee bit, just a little bit. Let's see, canvas effects. There we go. So we got to put a little more color in there. So I just come over here and go to a little brighter. There we go, a little brighter color. And let's give her a little more saturation. There we go. And definitely some contrast. A little contrast never hurt anybody. And let me see, a little bit of brightness. A little bit less brightness, I think. There we go. And temperature just a bit. Let's see if we can tint it more towards the pink as it is in my painting. We are going to be in good shape. Okay, so we have an echo that's easily fixed. Thank you so much. Watch this, my friend. This is 4 years of doing it on the fly. Okay, so it looks like we are connected again. It says I have an excellent connection. Good, we are back. Thank you so much for your patience, everybody. I appreciate it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go right in with the hair. And so let's just, no further ado, let's just go ahead and make this happen. So with the hair, you want to make sure that there is nice shine in the hair, but you don't want to go overboard. So right now I can see that I can kind of calm down this hair here. So I'm going to add a little bit of a darker gray. And thanks for your patience, everybody. Hey Matt, how you doing? Good to see you. Tone, how are you, sir? Good to see you guys. As you can see, I'm just toning this down. But let me go ahead and see if I could one more time. Maybe that's what's causing it, but I do have to fix the colors just a little bit here. Let's do that. We'll raise the contrast, make it a little bit brighter, bring that down. Pull up the saturation. There we go. I'm liking that a lot, so that's really good. Let's see. Okay, so I'm okay with this, and let's get cracking. Let me take Salma Hunt, not Salma, but Frida out of here. there. And let's see if we can bring back the young lady so you can see what we're working with. There we go. So far so good. And we're going to continue kind of darkening the highlights on the hair. Although we might feel that it's very much lighter, a lot of times the values are pretty close to one another. Yeah, Frida is from the live streams on Wednesday, but I definitely removed her for now. She's Wednesday. There we go. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and add a little bit of brown. So there's some brown accents right over here. So I'm just going to very lightly put in some brown accents. So you see now I'm kind of working on the large impressions, right, of this painting. And I think that will go a long way. Just a little bit of brown. So you see with this triangle, I have the gray here and the brown over there. And then we'll blend that in later. And over here we have a really nice kind of brownish tint right here in the hair. And that's something that in pastel you have such an advantage over airbrush, because you're able to just put in these little tiny accents of color, and it just takes a second, and you can go dark over light, light over dark. It does not matter. What matters is that you go softer over harder when it comes to the actual pastel brands. Hey, Mr. Nameless, how are you today? Thank you, sir. Nameless says she's looking beautiful. I appreciate that very much. So right now you can see I'm actually working on these accents, and there's a little bit of a mahogany kind of color. I love that color. I love that movie with Diana Ross, right? That really takes me back. So there's this color called Caput Mortem. It really is a beautiful color. Colette knows that color. She bought a whole bunch of them. Let's see. So I have to make sure I find that Caput Mortem. This is it. If you see it right there, it's kind of like a really warm brown. It's very beautiful. I love it. Art Spectrum has a really good Caput Mortem. And I'm just going to hit and move. Just leave those accents on there as so, you know. There we go. And just like so. So you can't just give her black hair. That doesn't work. That's not what's there, you know? Oh, a coworker couldn't pronounce the word. That's funny. Mahogany. That's funny. Let's see. Come over here. Alright, so whenever I have a color in my hand, I always look around to where that color might be. So this way, if I have it, I can definitely get those echoing color notes. It does two things. It allows you to get as much as you can when you already have that color mixed. But also, when you're looking for the same notes, you're going to end up with a painting that's going to have a cohesive color balance, right? And that's so crucial. So I'm just looking around, but you can see I'm painting the hair, and I haven't even painted one individual hair yet. That comes way later. Let's see if we put this over here like this. And there we go. It's important you see the reference. It's more important than seeing me. Okay, so like over here we have some really nice warm grays. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the other side. Now I want a warm gray, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a series of warm grays. We don't want a cold gray. So tell me out there, who could tell me the difference from a warm gray and a cold gray? Love to hear your thoughts. So right now, comment right now to tell me what do you think a warm gray is as opposed to a cold gray. Thank you. So Mr. Squeeze Bob says great skin tones, very much appreciated. Jesus says loves the highlights. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Mike says warm gray has brown tones, cool gray has blue tones. Very good, exactly. So more towards the blue end of the spectrum is your cool grays, going more towards your red is your warm, you know. So the one thing about gray is gray is definitely like the shapeshifter of colors. And I'll explain that as far as being the shapeshifter of colors is that only a neutral gray is much more rare than a cool gray or a warm gray. So it is definitely the shapeshifter on your palette. Mr. Garcia, good to see you. How are you today? So glad you're here, my friend. How is work going? You can see she's by far not old enough to have gray hair, but there's lots of gray in her hair. And we'll come over here, bring this cool gray down. And there's by no means any rush to go ahead and do the individual hairs. You know what I mean? Oh, 50 Shades of Grey. That's, oh boy. Yeah, that was a little bit of craziness out there, right, my friends? Little bit of craziness. And so I'm going to look at this on the big screen. I just want to see how the colors are looking on YouTube. actually, I'm really loving the way the colors are looking on YouTube on the big screen. It's very similar to what is actually in my painting, so bravo on that. So the color balance is pretty good. 50 Shades of Mike D. Oh man. And Squeeze says, warm heads towards yellow, cool heads towards blue. Very true, Mr. Bob. That's for sure. And so let's continue to really explore the cool and warm colors of her hair, which is a lot of fun. And we're just going to hit some of these. Now here I have like a serious blue color over here. I do see it a little bit in this corner, but I don't want to go overboard, but I do, and I do emphasize, I do want to have a little bit of an impressionistic feel to my colors. Now, impressionist means that you have an impression of the colors, right? You're not being so scientific, you're just going with what you see. And so I see a lot of different colors here, and it really is fascinating. And rather than think about it too long, I go ahead and hit that color as quick as possible. When you're doing your own work, this is like you're off the clock, right? You're not worrying about pleasing anybody, not worrying about pleasing a client. You're going to go ahead and you're going to get that color as you see it. You don't really care whether, the herd says it's bad. No, you are going to paint for you. And always take that, when you do have those moments to just work on a painting that you love, don't compromise 1 inch. Just go ahead. You see an avant-garde color, you darn well put that in, okay? Now, the more that you paint, the more that your colors are going to reveal themselves, right? How much longer do we have? I'm here until 9:30, my friend, so that's good. So I decided to do an hour and a half of the Pastel Livestream. And it's really nice to come in with these colors here. Now here's a pretty good trick. You can take this, so let's say I want to get like a really thin line, so I can always cut this and then come in, and then I could get some nice thinner lines. Thinner, not thinner. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we get the angles of the hair. The angles of the hair, or the grain of the hair, is so important. Just like the grain of the skin, right? You get that wrong, it's gonna really not look that great. One hour more, cool. So I appreciate that. Thank you everybody for hanging out today. That's 5:30. Oh man, 4 hours. That would be rough. The painting would look really great, 4 straight hours. So now we're going to start coming in with some individual hairs. Or some of the shadows caused by individual hairs. Now there's no reason why we can't come in with, let's say, a black or a charcoal pencil here. Ooh, charcoal pencil, yep. That's the thing. You use everything that you can to make a good painting. There are no rules here. Who said there was a rule? The rule is to make it look good. That's the rule. You want to make sure that things are not equidistant, and you want to make sure that things are not parallel all the time. Sometimes it might work out that it's parallel, but often it doesn't. So all the different techniques and everything that I do with, let's say, airbrush, the same things apply. A good painting is a good painting. You know, having good observation is having good observation. Doesn't matter what medium it is. Same standards apply. Ah, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. I'm so happy to share everything I know about color. So for years, I was just doing airbrush in color, and I wasn't doing any color in public, right? You know, I was still painting at home in color, but I wanted to pretty much specialize in just painting in India ink. And then I had a couple of knuckleheads say, "Wow, Tim, do you ever try working in color?" And I'm like, wow, I've been working in color longer than probably that person who asked is alive, you know. But, you know, it's just, there were two things I wanted to do. I wanted to basically explore the airbrush in a manner that it is, you know, I was just worrying about control, viscosity, distance, air pressure, and you really can't do that if you're worried about color. So I also do airbrush in color, but it was important for me to become one of the best as far as control goes. And the only way I was going to do that was to concentrate in black and white. So, you know, I'm happy to say that I did reach my goal of being one of the best control airbrushers out there. But now it's time for some color, right guys? It's time for some colors. Have you ever tried India ink? Yeah, Matt, a few times. Matt, I know you're kidding. So if you're not kidding, check out my airbrush class. My airbrush website, inkflingers.com. But I know you know I'm out there. But if not, it's possible, right? It's still possible. A lot of people haven't seen my India ink paintings and stuff. Colette, how are you? How are you feeling? Good to see you. Colette is doing amazing figure painting with me in pastel, and that's going really well. That was a good one, Matt. Thanks. That made me laugh. It's good to laugh every now and then, right? So I'm still, you know, moving about, you know, looking at some area where I might be able to add some color. And that's another thing, you know, with pastel, you have so much freedom to move about, to go over another layer. And to me, that is really the only other medium I think that comes close to pastel as far as having freedom is definitely oil painting. Any oil painters out there? Hey Colette, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you. That means a lot to me. And that really helps the channel, Colette, as you know. It really boosts revenue and helps me to pay for, you know, different things for the channel and to grow. And now I'm doing 2 live streams a week. So that is also a little more expensive. So thank you so much, Colette, for helping out. That means everything to me. And Matt, you're good for a lot of things, so not just for making me laugh. So thank you, though. Thank you for making me laugh, sir. And like, the real thing is, when we're working on this, we want to make sure that we are not getting too specific. We want to make sure that we are just kind of looking with soft eyes, right? So do you ever, look at something where you can kind of soft eyes, you kind of see peripherally as well? And that's what I'm kind of doing when I'm painting something as intuitive as hair, right? So I'm kind of soft eyeing it, so I see, like, maybe I see a little bit of blue just right here, and I'll just go with it. I won't think about it too much. I'll just go with it. Same thing here, a little patch of blue, and I'll just go ahead and just hit that patch of blue. And that's so important. Don't be afraid of color. Actually, really trust your eyes, kind of, step out of the boat and just kind of be brave, be bold with color. Color is really made for that. Of course, skin tone, you want to have that overall kind of, the right values and everything with skin tone. But there's a lot going on in skin tone. You'll see when you kind of look at it with soft eyes, and you can actually start to see colors that you didn't normally see before. So right here under her nose. Bob, thank you so much for this super chat. That means everything to me. Thank you. You and Colette are amazing. I really appreciate that. And it's just very encouraging, especially today when I was having little technical difficulties in the early goings. So I'm glad I stuck with it, and I'm glad you guys are all here, and thank you so much, Bob, for being so encouraging. That means everything to me. Thank you. You guys are great. So I'm really cooking with gas now, so that's really nice. Let me see if I could. I'm going to look on the big screen. I'm really liking the painterly feeling that I'm getting from this painting, right? From this pastel. And it's very important. And I talk about having a sort of, getting to the point where you have a certain amount of surface quality to your painting, right? And once you get there, then the colors seem to react a lot better to one another. And I'm going to go into her wing of her nostril here. Oh, the feedback is the air conditioner, so that's going to be rough. And I think we only have a couple of more months of that. Let's see. Let me zoom in on the wing of her nostril here. Put on my glasses. Okay. And I'm looking for like this luminous kind of sunset orange color. And let's go ahead and put that there. There's a lot of nerves and blood there, so let's even go a little bit more fantastical here. I'm just going to add some Naples yellow to the mix. And here. Let's see how this goes. Just definitely needs a little more power, a little more oomph. This color I'm going to attack it with the mixture. And I think the foams are going to work better than the foam core. So your scissors are most important, right? That's your most important tool. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of renew this triangle. And let's make that real beautiful, kind of powerful color here. There we go. And now we'll kind of lighten that up with some light flesh color. Create a nice transition. And you know what's great about pastel is that you don't run out of tools, right? There's always another tool, you know, there's always something that you can always bring into the mix. I'm going to take this real nice orange pastel pencil and I'm just going to bring this up, and then we're going to use our packing peanut, remember? And Mr. Patrick says that these are guacamole Cheetos, and that's going to for the rest of my life, these are going to be guacamole Cheetos. See how nice and luminous that is? And let's get even more luminous, right? Let's raise the bar. Just raise that bar. What's the worst that can happen? You dull it, right? So what? You know, what's the worst that can happen? So same here. Let's go in here. So you have all these tools, right? And use them. You know, if you have an advantage, you use it, right? You don't say, oh, I want it to be a fair fight. No, you use it. You use whatever, you know, whatever hand you're dealt, and you go ahead and do it to the best of your ability. When I'm working in Airbrush, I use the fact that I can get hard edges that I can't get with any other medium in the world. So am I going to say, well, no, it's not fair because other artists can't do it? And I'm like, nope, I'm going to use it. And I want you guys to be the same way. Use all the tools. I know I'm talking about I was talking about her hair, but I got a little sidetracked with her nose. So when you see something that needs adjusting and there's no reason for you not to do it, go ahead and attack it. And let's go a little bit more powerful. Let's see. Let's bring this down. And you know what's great also about pastel? See, like, look at that. I made a mess, right? Not really. Tap, 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 and it's gone, gone, gone. Just like that, and then we can come in with the right color, the correct color. Let's get some foam triangles, some fresh ones. Let's zoom out real quick. Okay, let's come over here. Go. And let's go ahead and get some flesh color in her nostril here. Okay, and now we can kind of go in a little bit of lighter color, kind of bring that out. And just take your time, everybody. Just take your time. This side of our Cupid's bow. Now what's interesting, which I do find, is that in her nostril, this is a very dark area right here, right? This is a very dark area. So let's quickly zoom in and see if we could work on this together. So you see it's like really dark here. This is where it's like really going into her head, her nostril. And then right here, there's this like beautiful dark red. It's really quite striking. And you know, you work in colors and you really fall in love with color. Fall in love with the different colors and everything. So that is not really a caput mortem. That's really like almost a pure reddish color. Let's go ahead and just very softly apply this. It's a little dark. So now we can lighten that up significantly. Just like so. See, you want to bring some life into her nostril. It's not a black hole. Lots of blood and stuff going on underneath the surface, so we got to make sure we pay attention to that. So I want this like really kind of rich red in that black. That's what Harvey told me. You know, just don't have it black. You got to go ahead and put some red in there. So let's see, we're going to try different things. And that's what Harvey did one time. I had this beautiful dark stick of pastel. It was really great. And, you know, it was nice and fresh, had the wrapper on it. And I had a nostril very similar to this. And he came by where I was painting, and he just took my red pastel and he dropped it on the floor from like, I don't know, maybe 4 feet, and it shattered into a million pieces. And I was like, oh my God. You know, I didn't have a job. I had waited tables. That was just to, you know, make ends meet. And I was like, oh my God. And he took a shard of it and he says, this is how you get the tight detail, you know. So that was quite a memorable moment, that's for sure. Oh, so you got the clean armor flowing, started to fall in love with it. Let's see. So we're just going to continue. Okay, so I know exactly what's going on with the microphone. Watch this. How's the sound, everybody? Sound is better now? I think we're in good shape. Let me just... Yep, we are in good shape. All right, so let's continue. Thank you so much for your patience, everybody. And now that we got that and we have the sound better, so, you know, they always say that the bigger the struggle, the sweeter the victory, right? So that is good. So sound is normal. We're doing okay. And thank you for sticking with me. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and work on the light that we have sort of an indentation at the corner of the mouth, right? And let's work on this together real quick. Okay. Right there. So you see, and that again is that kind of really beautiful red color, right? So let's go ahead and do what Harvey told me to do at the National Academy School of Fine Arts. So just kind of go over that area that's black, and you kind of bring it to life, and that is beautiful. You can even do that with the space in her teeth there. Kind of bring that to life, which is fantastic. Over here, bring some of that red over here. Okay, no problem, Jesus. So thanks for sticking with me, guys. And so what I said was, right over here, it's a bit lighter. Where there's an indentation, there's going to be a consequent coming out of the form. Where something's going in the face, something's going to be coming out in reaction. It's just the way it goes. So now I'm going to take this color right here, and I'm going to make sure that we get that little bit of the form kind of bulging out on the other side of the indentation, or the insertion of the side of the mouth into her mouth. There we go. And then over here, let's cover this up. And then here we go with that intuitiveness, those intuitive colors. I see a little bit of green right here. Just the tiniest little green right here. And you know what? It's there because in my mind it's there. So I'm going to put it in. Now, is it logically there? Maybe not. I don't care. And then there's a little bit of blue right here. Same thing here. I'm seeing that green once again make an appearance. Right up here. And then a little bit right here. And you wouldn't have the ability to do this but with oils and with pastel. You just don't have the ability to mix colors on the fly like you do with pastel. Watercolors maybe, but still it's not an inherent quality to be able to do something like this. And then there's a little bit of a shadow right over here. So I'm going to come with this. Oh, it's a very warm gray. It's gray with a lot of flesh tone. So I'm just going to bring some light gray to this flesh tone over here. Maybe even lighter gray. The great thing about pastels also is that you have a lot of colors and different values at your fingertips, which does make life a lot easier. Let's see, so I'm going to put this gray right next to my flesh color. And so right here And remember, the lighter that you apply a color, the more transparent it's going to be. Same thing with airbrush. The more a color is diluted, the more it's going to have transparent properties. And so you can see I'm getting that nice warm, that really warm gray, almost a flesh colored gray. And then we can zoom back and see, okay, alright, so that's looking really good, but I'm also seeing the corner of the mouth that it's really strong. The color is really quite strong. I'm going to take that same gray flesh tone and let's go ahead and just calm down the chromatic saturation right over here. Just calm this down a little bit. And it does work, you know. It really does. It really does work. There's a really wonderful cool gray right here. But it's more white than anything. So I'm going to take some white next to it. And let's see what this does. There we go. And what we're doing is setting up some nice highlights. And if we zoom out, we can see that we did nicely calm that down. Maybe over here it's still a little strong. So I might just glaze over that just to bring those lips into line, right? That's all we have to do. Alright, so let's look just below here and let's really kind of work out the way that her chin is facing the light most directly, but there's a lot more going on than just that. So I'm going to take a nice fleshy color and we're going to just move this up and we're going to shape that chin a little bit better. Put a little bit more intense flesh color over here. Now the great thing with pastel as well, you can have like a base color and then you can kind of work around it, right? You know, you could, you know, adjust its qualities here and there to have your more warm kind of beautiful warm yellowish orange skin tones and move right into your cooler grayish skin tones. And now maybe we can start pushing in some of these lighter areas. This might be a job for the foam core. It does work. It has its place in the latter part of the paintings. Hey Brad, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Thank you so much there, Mr. Jesus. I appreciate that. Now, so what I'm going to do is I want to kind of glaze this kind of color here. And I'm just going to kind of scumble this. And if it's a little too white, then we scumble a little bit of a darker color. And there's a lot of lights in these shadows. A lot of lighter values. And that highlight is looking too separate. You know, it's not a separate shape. It's that light is kind of mixing in with everything else around it. Kind of put this over here. If you miss this shape, you're going to miss the likeness, right? So you want to make sure that with the 1 second rule, you're hitting all these shapes correctly. Remember, light goes from up and down, from left to right, correct? So with that knowledge of up and down, left to right, you have to make sure that you are making those forms turn in both directions. And you put more life into those shadows by putting light in those shadows. Where can I put light in the shadows, right? That's the question. Maybe a little bit over here. And like I said, if you ever get too carried away, you can always just get a kneaded eraser as soon as you find one. Now where is it? It's probably underneath something or behind something, and that's exactly where this little bugger was. And I'm just going to go ahead and tap it. And you can pretty much, that's your Control Z in Pastel, so that's really cool. Over here we can definitely shape this out to be much more organic as opposed to, you know, making it too much like stained glass. I see green here. Just a little green, maybe some green with some white, right? Kind of a very interesting earthy green color with some white. I kind of feel that. So I'm going to be looking for that earthy green color. Here it is. So you see this nice earthy green color? I'm going to mix this with some white. And I think that will look nice. Maybe a little bit more green. Here. Let's do that a little higher. Now a lot of times that green won't even be there, but what that green does, it kind of relaxes the rods and cones in your eyes. If you ever see those colors where everyone's orange, what's happening is it looks realistic and you're happy, but in reality your rods and cones are trying to compensate for all that bloody orange that's there, and that's not natural. And that's where you get, without having a full spectrum in your painting, that's what happens, is that your painting becomes less realistic, and you'll see it as a photorealistic painting and you'll be like, oh, that's amazing, but it won't look real to you. Even on a subconscious level, it just will not look real to you. And so, you know, that's when you see like photorealists, not the best of them, not like Drew Blair. Drew Blair is like amazing. Paul McDonald, Marissa, you know, that kind of stuff. They do really good when it comes to inanimate objects, but when that same artist tries to do, let's say, a person, it falls short, because we have a lot of instincts when it comes to people, and those instincts really sound the alarms. Let's see what I missed. Mike, thanks for hanging out. Always a pleasure. I hope your day goes by really quickly and you have a very relaxing day at work. and then you get to come home and do some painting. That would be a good Sunday. Oh, of course, spend it with your family. More green over here. Okay, so let's go back to the hair. So we went ahead, did some really nice skin texture stuff and worked on that. And let's get some specifics with the hair. Now here's something that I don't touch on too much, but using the paintbrush and India ink to do some really nice hairs. You can also do it straight with the airbrush, like right here. Let's make her big here. Okay. So if you want to get like real fine hairs like that, you have to have good speed with the airbrush. You can't do these going slow, right? It just doesn't work. So you have to have good speed. And you have to have a very diluted ink or paint. And you want to get these angles. And you can put some of these wispy hairs in here. Just get the direction correct. And let's zoom out a little bit. See, now we kind of make that hair look a little more realistic. And we have some individual hairs coming up like so. And I have a diluted, in here I have a very diluted detail mixture, those who use my inks. Actually, what I can do first is kind of warm this up, right? Let's warm this area up. A little too cold. I don't want her to be cold. The thing about airbrushing, which is wonderful, it's very pragmatic. And I am a pragmatic pastel painter, but there's a lot of intuitive, kind of instinctive things going on there. Maybe that's because I've done it so long, I'm not sure. But I will always send you on the right path. So I will be doing some airbrush workshops in the near future. Not airbrush workshop, but pastel workshops, and also a pastel mentorship program. Okay, so I'm really happy with the way that looks. I kind of warmed that up, and now I could kind of come up here. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have the direction. The direction's really important. You also want to make sure you don't do things equidistant, you know, so kind of break up those distances and the length. Really important. And you can see how things are kind of shaping up here. Some individual hairs. No, definitely wouldn't want to send you on the wrong path there, Mr. Nameless, that's for sure. Yeah, what a weird night, huh, with the issues I think it had to do with the microphone, actually. Kind of closing up a little area of her scalp that's exposed, just like so. Then right here, this is a job for packing peanuts, so we can just kind of blend this in nicely. There are times where blending it in does work. We got a little bit of a blotchiness over here. Let's go ahead, come over here, and let's apply some smoothness here. Okay, so now let's start incorporating some highlights in her hair. So we don't want to use white, right? We already established we don't want to use white, but we can use a gray pastel. This is DeWint pastel pencils. Not crazy about them. We'll use them, but not crazy about them. They're kind of fat. I don't like fat pastels. As far as pastel pencils are concerned. Okay, so I have a fairly okay point. So notice how I hold the pastel pencil from its tip because I don't want to put too much pressure on there. So now we start getting into some detail of the hair, right? Still not doing individual hairs. We're kind of working at the hair as if it was a helmet. Now I may have to put a little more pressure here and there. That's okay. And the angle of the hair is really paramount, right? You want to get the angle. There we go. Now where you're going to see some of these lights, I'm going to put a corresponding dark right next to it. You don't have to put a lot. You just have to make sure that you're not too parallel and you don't do equidistance unless it's like really equidistance, and that's more rare than you think so. Now look, just those little things are starting to bring some body to her hair. And now you can do other things. You can come in with a charcoal pencil. Why not? No rules here. But you know, if you were to take the mentorship class with me in pastel, you would be taking a class with someone who has studied with the best pastel painters in the world in the last 100 years. So I studied with Erwin Greenberg at the High School of Art and Design. I studied with Harvey Dinnerstein at the National Academy School of Fine Arts. Studied with George Passantino at the Art Students League, Daniel Chard at Rowan University, Ron Scher at the Art Students League. So lots of information that you'll be getting because I was blessed to have parents who sent me to these incredible schools. Of course, I kind of helped them out by getting a merit scholarship to all these schools. But, yeah, so, definitely an opportunity to study pastels with me, as well as studying airbrush. Nayla says, what is that, black chalk? This is actually this is actually a charcoal pencil, which is pretty cool. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. And thanks, Jesus. Hey, Cody, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. So glad you're here. So one more week, and we're going to be done with this beautiful young lady here. The pastel really enables me to get some of those deep shadows that are cast by these kind of highlights in the hair. See that? So what time do we have? Uh-oh, almost a disaster, but no. A lot of my pastels fell, but they only fell 6 inches. So that's not like Harvey dropping it 4 feet. But I learned a lot from that moment that Harvey taught me that, which I'm so thankful for. So I am going to come in with a softer pastel, right? So let's see, what is a soft pastel that I currently have? This right here is a nice soft pastel. I'm going to start applying some highlights, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So let's do that together. I have to make sure I have a pristine, clean triangle here. And let's, just like when we're doing our airbrush paintings, the white pastel really makes a big difference. But now I'm using a very soft pastel. And the reason why you want to use a soft pastel at a late stage like this is because when you do, it has great covering power. Let's see. Here on your eye. I'm going to come in nice powerful light. Same thing over here. Put some powerful lights. Remember, skin is like a lake, right? On a windy day. It's not still water, so you have these little waves, and that's what's happening with skin. You're not getting a reflection like a still pond. You're getting a rippling like a lake on a windy day. So you all wondered where I got the pastel part of my painting when I work in airbrush, and here's your answer. Exactly like an orange, exactly it, and it's not smooth, and that's when you see people who don't have that knowledge, and their people start looking like a robot. the great adjustment ability that pastels have is really quite remarkable. So I can just come in with my eraser if I went a little overboard, tap, tap, tap. I could calm that down ever so easily. And like I always say, I never worry about a likeness until the end anyway. She has this beautiful light here on her forehead. Let's make sure we make that happen. Right here. Surface texture. That's exactly what we're achieving right now. A beautiful surface texture. And then the pastel basically starts falling into place. And once again, we can always take our packing peanuts and we can kind of blend that in if we need to. And then we have this beautiful opportunity for this light facing area on her chin or mandible. Now you can see that is way too powerful. So all we need to do is just take this and just tap it and bring that right into line. We'll come back in with some of the other colors from before. Kind of bring that over. Okay. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Cody said never worked in pastels. How do you protect a painting? Basically what I do, Cody, is I frame it under glass, sometimes even without a mat. Just make sure it's pressing up against that glass. I have paintings that are 20 years old that are framed that way, and no problem. They look as brand new and lively as they did the day I painted them. So that's pretty cool. This is a little overboard here. Let's see. And thank you, Jesus. I appreciate that. Yeah, the guacamole Cheetos. As Patrick would say. Hey, what's up there, Mr. Bill? How are you today, sir? Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate that. How's Ava feeling? My prayers are with her, of course. And once again, see if I'm just a little bit on the exuberant side, I can always calm that down, no problem whatsoever. Now, looking at the hair, I did see that there was a little bit of a weird angle here. See how that kind of comes over there? We got to make sure that we chill this out. That's much better. Okay. And then you see a lot of times the hair does not just continue. A lot of times it's broken up. It weaves in and out under and over other hairs. Let's see, we are at 9:24, so we're getting close to the end, everybody, and so that's really cool. Let's bring some of this light area here. I think when we come back next week, we're going to finish up. However, when we finish up, we're definitely going to work on some of more like her body area, kind of get that all resolved. So what's really good with pastels as well, I could come in and start painting in some of the negative shape in the hair. See that? And when you're doing that, we just want to make sure you're perpendicular. I mean, not parallel, I should say. And even with her eyebrow, we can start putting in some of these negative shapes here. Let's take a look. As you can see, moving around a lot, making sure I'm not staying in one area. So let's say I have a pastel pencil, this kind of light fleshy color. I might just kind of take a walk around the painting and see where I could use this color elsewhere. Again, it does two things. First thing, it's more economical to use what you have in your hand, see if you could utilize that. And then secondly, you get a creation of unity around your whole pastel painting, which is very good. So again, you know, you see right there, rather than try and blend that in, it's always best to just kind of lift that off with your pastel pencil, right? And oh, is it? Oh, it's wind your back. Wind your clock back. That would be funny. Oh my God. If everyone believes you, everyone's going to be waking up all late tomorrow. That's funny. But, you know, I really enjoy these pastel live streams. They're a lot of fun. See what we have. Tim needs to do the light time thingy. That's funny. And so we are getting close, 9:27. I always give you guys the full amount. Well, today kind of couldn't because of all the technical difficulties, but I am sorry about that. Move this over. Oh, right here. Kind of the light on her ear. You definitely could hit that. And along here. Oh, right here on her neck. We have a beautiful light right here. Let's see what it looks like. This raise up. Oh yeah, so you can see a beautiful light. That powerful light that comes down right here. Brad says, looking fantastic, Tim. Thanks for another great feed. Thanks, man. I appreciate, Mr. Brad, I appreciate that. Cody says, looks great. Matt says, like in soccer, extra time needs to be added. Yeah, that's true with all the technical issues, right? Injury time. Brad says, okay. JC says, yes, Matt, stoppage time. That's so funny. Oh, you guys are hilarious. And let's just bring this over. Go. And it is 9:30, my friends. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it on this Saturday night. You could have done anything, but you decided to hang out with little old me, and I really thank you for that. Now I'm just going to be looking for, where is it? Okay, right here. So thank you so much, guys. You guys are all amazing. Thank you so much, Bob and Colette, for the super chat stickers. It means a lot. Thanks for hanging out, Bill. I appreciate it. Steve, both Steve Lang and Steve Leahy. Thank you. Jesus and Mike Deloge, nameless subscriber, Matt, and I mean the list goes on and on. You're all so great, and I don't know, Mr. Tom Payne, John Payne, and Roy, and just everyone. And you guys are all really fantastic. Love hanging out with you all, and I hope to see you all on Wednesday at 9:30 for the Ink Flingers, and that is painting, I believe, part 4 of Frida Kahlo. That one's ramping up pretty quick, so you don't want to miss that. And I hope you all have a great day. Thanks, Coach.